Yep.
Republican Congressman Chip Roy of Texas, now a member of the Judiciary Rules and Budget Committees. Could you hear that? I mean, they didn't know even what state they were crossing into. They just knew that they were here, and they didn't have to leave. Congressman.
Yeah, Harris, first of all, thank you for shining the light on this problem as you do regularly, and thank Bill for all of his great reporting. It is frankly because of Bill and some other of the intrepid reporters out there that we actually know the truth, what we're seeing right there. I mean, we've had 24,000 Chinese nationals who've come into this country since last October. That's more than all of last year when we had about 24,000 in 2023, which is far more than I think the several hundred that we had in the 2021 timeframe when we were still operating under President Trump's policies. Look, we've got people coming from all over the world, but I want to pause for a second here. You know, we're all still commemorating the 80th anniversary of D-Day. I watched an interview of one of those patriots, one of those heroes, who said yesterday, I saw a quote where he said, "I feel like a foreigner in my own land." I want to think about that for a second, right? What those men fought for, what they died for, what they risked. They were fighting for a country that believes in the rule of law. They were fighting for a country that would have shared values, where we all come together as Americans to advance this, great idea and this great experiment. And now this president is blowing that all up by opening our doors contrary to law, risking our security. Laken Riley is dead because of his parole policies. Lisbeth Medina is dead in Texas because of his policies. We've got thousands of Americans dying from fentanyl poisoning. Texas wants to try to stop it, wants to try to secure our border, and the Attorney General of the United States is suing us to stop it. This is the reality of America today. And with all due respect to the president, who stood over there and gave a speech on D-Day, he's not actually standing up for the rule of law and the values that those men fought for. And this issue, this border issue, is front and center as to why this matters. And I'm so proud of Republicans for having passed a real border security bill last year. The president is giving up the game when he gave his speech last week and he said, I'll limit it to 2,500. Harris, do you remember when they were chastising us because we opposed the Senate bill for its cap on 5,000? It's totally fake what they're doing. The president is showing up and he's now trying to get cover for election reasons for the fall, but they have no interest in actually securing the border with all the exceptions you rattled off before. So, Congressman, can you imagine if that had passed, where we would be now? I mean, I did the numbers on the cartels just sending a little fewer than 2,500, say 2,499, and we're still at over 900,000, almost a million. Right. So if you had all agreed bicamerally on that bill and it had become law, that bipartisan bill, as they call it, which I know many Republicans are staunchly against, if that had come into play, we would have had twice that many. It wouldn't have moved the needle at all, if not turn the spigot on even further. I do want to just go back real quickly to something that you mentioned, and I'm going to ask my team to do that. You said that there was development in the legal battle between Texas and the Biden administration over that razor wire protecting the border. An appeals court yesterday seemed open to blocking the administration from destroying state-installed fencing. Texas filed a lawsuit accusing the federal government of trespassing. And back in January, the Supreme Court allowed federal agents to cut and remove that wire. We'll remind everybody, because they can see that on screen, in the Rio Grande sector. You have gone back and forth. Where is it now? Well, look, I mean, it's really critically important. The state of Texas, the Attorney General, Ken Paxton, the governor, they keep pushing back on the federal government because the federal government is trying to interfere with our ability to secure the border. And when I asked the Attorney General Merrick Garland, about this in the Judiciary hearing last week, I said, do you think Texas has a right to secure our border, to protect our citizens in the face of what's happening when the federal government refuses to do it? And the Attorney General kind of paused and he said, well, it's a terrible human tragedy, but we'll just give you more resources. And I looked at him and I said, no, Mr. Attorney General, this is not about more resources. It's about allowing us to actually enforce the law. Texas is doing the right thing to stand up and fight. We're still having a battle over what's going on with the razor wire and all of those issues. But the fundamental issue is the ability of Texas to be able to take individuals and remove them. And I think that's at the core of the actual fight that we need to make sure is clear legally. And will other states also step in and join you in this battle? Because when it stopped the flow, the razor wire, it then picked up in New Mexico and it picks up in California because the cartels are working the openings, as we're seeing. That's why, as you saw from Bill's report just moments ago, they don't know what state they're coming into. They're just told to cross wherever you can find a hole.
Congressman, I have to let you go, but it is wonderful always on the program to get the latest from you, to get the perspective, and we will keep it in the forefront of our coverage, the border crisis. Thank you.
Thank you, Harris. God bless you.
God bless you, too. Former President